Let's begin with the latest from Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has said that the country's forces are fighting Russian forces in the east and south. Zelensky also spoke about post-war recovery. He said, rebuilding Ukraine is a means of protection against any repetition of Russian aggression. Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni met French President Emmanuel Macron in Paris. Meloni said Italy and France will continue supporting Ukraine in the ongoing war. She highlighted that the air defense system on which the two countries have been working on is now operational on the battlefield. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has said that Britain, the US and European Union have pledged billions of dollars to help build Ukraine. This statement comes as Sunak launched a war insurance framework. Ukraine is seeking up to $40 billion to fund a part of its Green Marshall Plan. The plan aims to rebuild its economy. China's foreign ministry has reacted to US President Joe Biden calling Xi Jinping a dictator. Beijing said that these remarks seriously violate China's political dignity. Beijing added that the statement amounts to public political provocation. Biden makes the remarks shortly after US Secretary of State wrapped up his China visit. Blinken met Chinese President Xi Jinping and other top leaders. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has arrived in New York. He was welcomed by a huge group of Indian expats. Members of the Indian diaspora gathered outside Modi's hotel to cheer for him. Prime Minister Modi is the third global leader to be invited for a state visit by US President Joe Biden. Iran's President Ebrahim Raisi has said that his country will not beg in nuclear deal talks. During an interview with a local publication, Raisi said that Iran is pursuing talks with honor, wisdom, and good intentions. He described the US and Israel as enemies, but added that he does not see Saudi Arabia as one. The US is holding talks with Iran with an aim to limit the country's nuclear program. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has responded to a recent shooting in West Bank. He said that Israel would settle the score. In the latest shooting, 4 people were killed near an Israeli settlement in West Bank. The Hamas military group claimed responsibility for the attack. The group said that the shooting was in response to Israeli raid in the city of Jenin. A riot broke out in a women's prison in the Central American nation of Honduras. At least 41 people have been killed. Authorities say that some people have died due to burns while others have been shot. Authorities also say that a brawl broke out between the members of rival gangs. Thousands of people marched across some of the major cities in Colombia. This was an anti-government demonstration held to protest against the economic and social reforms introduced by President Gustavo Petro. Petro is pushing the Congress for labor, health and pension overhaul. However, opposition leaders say that the proposals could negatively impact Colombia's finances. Search and rescue operation for the missing submarine that went to explore the Titanic wreckage continues. The submarine has been missing for 3 days in the Atlantic Ocean. It had 5 people on board, including a billionaire from the UK. Experts say that the vessel has less than 30 hours of oxygen left. The rescue teams are facing logistical challenges in their operation. Spanish Coast Guards have intercepted a dinghy carrying over 63 migrants. The vessel was traveling southeast of the Spanish island of Gran Canaria in the Atlantic Ocean. Arrivals of migrants in the Canary Island has increased in the past week over favorable weather at sea. Almost 6,000 people have reached the Canary Island from January to June this year. Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orban has urged Siberian authorities to release 3 Kosovo police personnel who were arrested last week. The arrest was made from the border area between the two countries. Orban said that he found it unacceptable that the international community accepted Kosovo's local elections held in April as legitimate. It drew less than 4% voters. A Canadian Air Force helicopter crashed into the Ottawa River on Tuesday. 2 members of the armed forces were killed in the incident. Other 2 on board have been hospitalized. This was a Royal Canadian Air Force CH-147 Chinook helicopter. It crashed near a military base. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has said that the crash is being investigated. A fire broke out in the basement of a hotel in South Korea's Busan. About 170 people were rescued from the area. Some of the hotel guests were rescued by helicopters. The cause of the fire is not known as yet. In climate, activists in Paris demonstrated in front of the Eiffel Tower. They used props to make the Eiffel Tower look like a wind turbine. The protests come ahead of an international summit this week. Global leaders will meet to discuss ways to reduce poverty and restructure debt for poor countries. Climate will also be one of the main topics on their agenda. The United Nations has adopted the world's first treaty to protect marine biodiversity. The UN has marked this milestone after 20 years of effort. This follows an agreement reached in March this year. Under the agreement, over 100 countries pledged to protect the high seas. The agreement was reached after years of discussions and negotiations. A new drone footage shows the devastating aftermath of Mississippi tornado. The footage shows flattened trees and homes in Jasper County. At least 4 people have been killed in the twisters. Subsequent flooding has also forced almost 150 people out of their homes. Hailstorms and strong winds swept through a small village in France. The region's mayor said that about 80 to 90% of the buildings have been damaged. Over 2,000 homes have lost power connection due to the storms. A group of 20 climate activists, including Greta Thunberg, have staged protests. This was outside an entrance to the oil port in the Swedish city of Malmö. They have been protesting against the fossil fuel industry for 6 days. The activists carried out the blockade to prevent the transport of fossil fuel products to the port. Meteorologists are monitoring record-breaking marine heat waves in some locations of the UK and Ireland coastlines. Experts say the sea temperatures are around 4 or 5 degrees Celsius warmer than usual. This is due to multiple factors including climate change. Experts believe that the heat wave could be damaging to wildlife. Moving on to business, US President Joe Biden met with a group of civil society leaders and advocates to discuss artificial intelligence. He called for the need to address security risks associated with AI. Biden added that he will also seek expert advice on the matter. This comes as governments globally are considering implementing laws to regulate the AI sector. America's largest newspaper chain, Gannett, has sued Google. This is over the tech giant's practices to monopolize the advertising market. Gannett said that Google's control over tools for buying and selling online ads forces publishers to sell more cheap ad space to the tech firm. This leaves publishers with dramatically less revenue. Twitter employees are suing the social media company. This is for failing to pay bonuses despite promising it would. Since Elon Musk's acquisition of the company, Twitter has been sued by multiple people for failing to pay bills. This not only includes rent, but also severance pay for some of the laid-off employees. Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella and video game company Activision Blizzard's chief Bobby Kotick will have to appear in court. This is for a hearing that seeks to block the tech company's $69 billion merger with Activision. The CEOs are among the witnesses planned for the case. The 5-day hearing is set to begin this week. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi met with Tesla CEO Elon Musk. This was during the first day of PM Modi's US state visit. Following the meeting, Musk said that an announcement on Tesla's investment in India could come soon. He said, and I quote, "I am confident that Tesla will be in India and will do so as soon as humanly possible." PM Modi will now head to Washington, D.C. Singapore-based Grab Holdings is cutting 1,000 jobs. This is about 11% of its workforce. Reports say that the company was due to announce its biggest layoff since the pandemic yesterday. The firm had laid off over 300 workers in 2020. Grab is Southeast Asia's leading ride-hailing and food delivery company. Warner Bros. Discovery has begun laying off people. The cuts will affect about 100 employees. These will impact positions in the Discovery and Turner units. Polar Changnon, a senior official at Turner Classic Movies, will also leave as part of the layoffs. Payments company MasterCard has launched a global project to recycle credit and debit cards. This will save billions of such cards from ending up in landfills. MasterCard is partnering with HSBC for the project. Under the plan, the payments giant will improve shredding machines to HSBC. Customers will be able to use it to recycle their cards. Financial firm HSBC has lowered its forecast for China's growth this year. It now expects Beijing's GDP to grow by 5.3%. This is a dip from an earlier forecast of a 6.3% rise. HSBC says that growth will be dragged down by the weakening property sector and temperate business in the region. Reports say Disney's chief diversity officer and senior vice president, Latondra Newton, is leaving. She is stepping down from her role after 6 years. Newton was charged with overseeing the company's commitment to its inclusivity guidelines. She will reportedly join the corporate board of another company. Moving to sports. In cricket, Australia beat England by 2 wickets in the first Test match to surge ahead in the Ashes series. Australian skipper Pat Cummins' unbeaten 44 runs helped Australia chase the target of 282 in the enthralling final day of the match. Cummins' 55-run partnership with tailender Nathan Lyon lifted the Aussies to a winner in the English town of Edgbaston. Australia now lead the 5-Test match series 1-0. The under-23 Indian women's cricket team beat Bangladesh by 31 runs to win the ACC Emerging Asia Cup T20 title. Indian spinners Shreyanka Patil and Mannat Kashyap played pivotal roles for India's victory. India scored a modest 127 in their 20 overs. Patil's 4 wickets of 13 runs and Kashyap's 3 wickets of 30 paved the way for the victorious win. In football, Argentina star Messi is expected to make his debut in the Major League Soccer on 21st of July. Messi will be representing the Inter Miami side in the tournament. Messi's contract with Inter Miami will be worth $50 to $60 million per year. However, he will not be able to sign the contract until his pact with PSG expires sometime in July. The Argentinian great's first game would be against Cruz Azul in the League's Cup. Cristiano Ronaldo scored the winning goal as Portugal beat Iceland 1-0 in the Euro 2024 qualifiers. He became the first men's football player to register 200 international appearances in the game. Ronaldo scored the winning goal in the 89th minute. The 38-year-old global football star was honoured by the Guinness World Records before the match kicked off. Romelu Lukaku scored 2 goals as Belgium beat Estonia 3-0 in the Euro 2024 qualifiers. Lukaku has now scored 75 goals in 108 internationals. Belgium now remains unbeaten in Group F of the European Championship qualifiers. They are just 3 points behind Austria with a game in hand. Wimbledon has announced that it will be using AI commentary in this year's championship. AI commentary will be used for its video highlights packages. Wimbledon describes the move as the first step towards using AI for live matches in the future. However, the All-English club said that AI will not pose a risk to human umpires and they will never be replaced. Alexander Zverev defeated Dominic Thiem 6-3, 6-4 at the Halle Open on Tuesday. Before the tournament, Zverev doubted his chances of competing in the western German town of Halle. He said he is too tall for the surface. Now, Zverev will face Canadian Denis Shapovalov today. Moving to badminton, the duo of Satvik Siraj Rankireddy and Chirag Shetty are now world number 3. They climbed up the ranking table in the men's double category. The pair won the finals of the Indonesia Open to achieve this feat. Paralympic gold medalist Krishna Nagar has won the 2023 Canada Para Badminton International in Ottawa. Nagar defeated England's Jack Shepherd 21-18 and 21-16 to win the finals. The para shuttler currently holds the 6th spot in the world rankings. Moving to chess, the mind over body game has now forayed into a franchisee-based tournament. The Global Chess League is an upcoming mixed-team tournament. It will involve some of the biggest names from the world of chess. Biggies like Magnus Carlsen and Vishwanathan Anand will be featuring in the tournament. The league will take place in Dubai from 21st June to 2nd July this year. This could prove to be an IPL-like moment for chess. Now moving on to entertainment. Musician Pharrell Williams' debut show as creative director of fashion house Louis Vuitton was a star-studded affair. Hollywood's Who's Who showed up for his show in Paris last evening. Singer Beyoncé and Rihanna and actors Zendaya and Jared Leto were among the guests. The runway show was followed by a performance by rapper Jay-Z. The Writers Guild of America strike has completed over 50 days. The strike has cost the California economy $1.5 billion or $30 million a day in lost economic output. Today, the WGA will suspend picketing to stage a rally in Los Angeles for a fair contract. Various Hollywood unions like the SAG-AFTRA, Directors Guild and American Federation of Musicians will join the writers. The Newport Film Outdoors Documentary Festival has announced its 2023 lineup of films. Some of the documentaries to be showcased are Mickey, The Story of a Mouse and Invisible Beauty. The festival will take place at different locations in the US from the 23rd of June to the 1st of September. Actor Jonathan Majors' alleged assault case will go on trial on the 3rd of August. Majors is facing misdemeanor charges of assault and harassment. He was arrested in March after a 30-year-old woman reported being assaulted by him. Majors appeared in the New York Criminal Court for a status conference last evening. K-pop band Zero Base One are gearing up for a launch of their debut mini-album. The group has planned promotional activities between the 26th of June to the 5th of July. These include releasing concept photos, title poster, track list and music video teasers. Titled Youth in the Shade, the album will release on the 10th of July. Korean singer Choi Sung-won has died at the age of 33. Reportedly, Seoul police have said that he died by suicide. The singer had uploaded a message on his YouTube a week back saying goodbye to his fans. The singer rose to fame with the reality show Korea's Got Talent in 2011. In 2021, he faked a cancer diagnosis to raise funds. When the truth was revealed, he attempted suicide during a live stream but was saved by paramedics. K-pop band BTS's 10th anniversary song Take 2 has debuted at the #1 spots on various Billboard music charts. It secured this position on both the Billboard Global 200 and the Billboard Global, excluding US. The single marks the boy band's 7th overall single to hit #1 on the Global 200 chart. Singer Taylor Swift has announced the 2024 international schedule for her Eras tour. Swift announced a total of 38 overseas dates. She will begin the tour with 4 shows at Japan's Tokyo Dome between the 7th and the 10th of February. The tour will then move to London's Wembley Stadium on the 21st of June. Swift will also tour countries like France, Germany, Singapore and Australia. Singer Niall Horan has signed an exclusive worldwide deal with Universal Music Publishing Group. The news comes on the heels of his 3rd studio album titled The Show. The group will represent Horan's past, present and future solo works. Rapper Lil Dicky is going to release new music for the first time in 8 years. The new album will have music from his comedy series Dave. It will be available on streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music later this year. Lil Dicky's last album came out in the year 2015. Titled Professional Rapper, the album had debuted at #1 on the Billboard Top Rap Albums chart.
Are you selling drones to India? Which ones and how many?
Latest platform is the MQ-9B, the most versatile, high-altitude, long-endurance unmanned aircraft in the world. Got all the components that are required to making it a resilient and robust platform.